I guess my biggest, memory back when I signed at 17 out of high school. I was a young senior. I signed, and I was a 4th-round pick. So, I thought I was going pretty good or doing pretty good. And I remember, like, I think my 2nd or 3rd game, I came up with runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out, and the manager gave me the bunt sign, and I kind of like, bunt? You kidding me? I've never bunted in my life, and I'm thinking back then, I hit 500 in high school, and I did this, and I was kind of upset about it, and so I wiped across my chest like, hey, I think you got that wrong, and so he gives me the bunt sign again, and I'm kind of giving him a little body language going, that's ridiculous, so I do it again, and he puts the bunt sign on again, and I'm 17 years old, my 3rd professional game, and finally I realized he wanted me to bunt, and so I bunted and actually got it down, and I went to the dugout and kind of threw my helmet, and like, I can't believe he had me bunt, man, that's kind of ridiculous. And so in between innings he came in, and it was Larry Himes who became the GM for the White Sox, a good guy, a very good guy, but he came in and he grabbed me and he goes, don't you ever question my signs ever again. If I give you the bunt sign, you bunt, this and that, and he fined me $25, and I was like, that was kind of my awakening to professional baseball. And I paid my $25 fine and never questioned another sign. But I didn't get the bunt sign very often, so because I started hitting pretty good. A big thrill was getting called up to the big leagues. I had no idea. I played in the Midwest League at 18, and then I played in El Paso in the AA and the Texas League at 19, and had a pretty good year. And I was driving home from El Paso to Los Angeles, where I live. My parents live where I grew up, and there was no cell phones or any way to contact anybody. So I drove, kind of all night and made it home in 12 hours or whatever it is, 14 hours from El Paso to LA. And I got home, and my little sister was home, and she said the Angels have called like 10 times wanting to, you to call, and I'm going, wonder what they wanted. Because I was heading to instructional league in 2 weeks, and so I didn't know. And my parents were driving my other brother to college to play football, and so nobody was home other than me and my sister. And so I called the Angels and, hey, we want you to come to the ballpark. You're on the team. And I go, on what team? And they said, you're in the big leagues. And I go, I'm what? I'm in the big. I was like totally shocked. And I couldn't tell. My dad, who had huge. He was a major reason I was a professional baseball player. I couldn't even call him because he was on the road driving to Salt Lake City. My brother was going to BYU or whatever, and he was driving on the road, so I couldn't call him. And I was going to be in the big leagues at 19 years old, so I went to the ballpark, and of course the coaches played a prank on me. They told me to go into Jim Fragosi's office and call him Skip, and he hated to be called Skip, and I didn't know that, so I walked in and said, hey Skip, I'm here, and he said, what'd you call me? And he aired me out and yelled at me, and then they were all laughing, so that was my first day in the big leagues. Well, I had retired, and I ended up coaching my son through high school, my oldest son through high school, and my middle son was more of a football player, so I wasn't going to coach baseball much, at least with my kids, so I decided, well, I'll try to look for a coaching job professionally in Arizona where I lived, and they had the Arizona Rookie League, which is the entry-level league. It would be perfect. I could be home and not have to travel and everything, and so I started calling around the Arizona League after my son graduated high school in June of 2000, and I got a call back from the Mariners, and they said, can you still catch? And I go, no, I want to coach. I don't want to catch. I'm 40 years old. I haven't played in 5 years, or 4 years or whatever it was. And I said, I don't want to play. I want to coach. And they said, well, we've had severe injuries in the upper levels to our catchers, big leagues, AAA, AA. We need somebody to catch. So I said, give me a couple days. And I went to Peoria, and I took batting practices and threw infield and everything like that. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm on a plane to Tacoma. And my first game's in Sacramento, and I remember the Sacramento ballpark, with the big scoreboard. It was one of the first in the minor leagues to have the big screen scoreboard, and it showed the starting lineup, and I'm not there running, and it said the age, it said 40, and I went, wow, I'm playing a game at 40, And so I look in the bullpen, and there's a left-hander warming up, and I'm thinking I can get 2 hits off a left-hander with my eyes closed. And so anyway, ended up going with my first at bat, and the first pitch, boom, I didn't hardly see it, and it's like, oh man, I had to be like 95 miles an hour or something. The next pitch was a curveball that just dropped off the table. I fouled the pitch off and struck out on a changeup, and I walked back to the dugout to the AAA guys. I go, who is that guy? And they go, that's Barry Zito. He's the best pitcher in the PCL, and he actually got called up the next day to start, and had been in the big leagues ever since. You know, so long story short, I went to the Mariners and I said, can I help out? I got to go home, and I ended up helping out the rookie ball team and everything. So I have one game at 40 years old in AAA.